Spider-Man 4 leaks include Savage Hulk as main villain. Yeah, that's a story they should have done something about a long time now, but they did She-Hulk instead. Anyway, we get a new batch of leaks out about Spider-Man 4. Again, claimed from the recent Disney Blockbuster Consumer Products presentation. Previously, 3 villains were said to have been named at the event, with Scorpion, Boomerang, and Tombstone. And I thought Mr. Negative would be in it too. Maybe not. At least with Scorpion, he's the guy that becomes the Scorpion has already appeared in the Spider-Man movies. Anyway, now it's claimed that a 4th villain and main villain were named at the Disney Blockbuster Consumer Products presentation. It's also claimed that the Savage Hulk will make his long-awaited return in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Update. John Bernthal is said to be starring in Spider-Man 4 as the Punisher. Good Lord. They really are cluttering up the movies now, you know? But they got to make up for lost time that they wasted on crap, you know? Yeah. More on the Punisher later. But anyway, the info has surfaced on Reddit from a user who claims they DM'd the Instagram account of a person who revealed the info of the Disney. Yeah, inside story. Worth a mention is that the Disney Blockbuster Consumer Products presentation was verified as actually happening by Chris Gore on with Nerdrotic. So, update. Additional Avengers Doomsday. Okay, that's... Now I got to redo this. All right. Yeah, the Savage Hulk will be in there, possibly be the main villain. Regarding Spider-Man 4, according to the DMs, the 4th villain featured in Spider-Man Brand New Day is Tarantula. Good Lord, it's a lot. The Instagram user also revealed the main villain of Spider-Man Savage Hulk. Tombstone. Okay, so that's the actual code of it. Tombstone, Scorpion, Boomerang. Confirmed by additional pictures along with Tarantula. It's probably like a gang of them, not quite Sinister Six, but something like that. But then the problem becomes the Hulk. So anyway, so as of now, there are actually 6 rumored villains for Spider-Man Brand New Day. Scorpion, Boomerang, Tombstone, Tarantula, with Savage Hulk as the main villain. And a previous rumor said Lady Chameleon. That's right, Lady Chameleon was also along with Mr. Negative. I don't know. I mean, they're in for 5 minutes. Spider-Man catches them, something like that, and that's it. Plus, the Black Cat's supposed to be in it, I think. I don't know. Update. Numerous confirmations are coming via social media. Savage Hulk is indeed the main villain of Spider-Man Brand New Day. Yeah, this is the last we saw Hulk. If the info is indeed legit, that means Mark Ruffalo will also be starring in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Of course, you could just do a CGI Hulk and leave him out of it. So yeah, it was the last we saw him was in the crappy She-Hulk show. How and why the Savage Hulk returns remains to be seen, but it's safe to say the comeback is most welcome. Yeah, it would be great. So Brand New Day is directed by Shang-Chi's Destin Daniel Cretton, joining Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Jacob Batalon, and new to the cast Sadie Sink and Lisa Zayas. I think Zayas is the Lady Chameleon character. Sadie Sink, which with the red hair, people thought, oh, she's going to be the real Mary Jane. They might just dye her hair blonde and have her be the Black Cat. I don't know. The plot follows the events of No Way Home, where everybody has forgotten about Peter Parker. Yeah. Yeah, the Hulk. It's a sad thing because the She-Hulk, they allowed it. You can have the comedy in it, and of course, fourth wall breaking. They were so sure they could do the Deadpool treatment with She-Hulk because of how John Byrne handled the character in her own series and stuff like that. But a Hulk series would have been so much better. She-Hulk should have been introduced in that, and then get someone more competent to do you got to have some serious superheroics in it. The comedy can be in there, but you really got to rein that in. It's devastated alongside wokeness, the MCU. So even though She-Hulk became more of a comedic story in her own right, it also differentiated her from the tragedy that is the Incredible Hulk. But it would have been more interesting had he's losing control. He had gotten this control, but he's starting to lose it. And it becomes this tragic story where Jennifer tries to help him and she can't. She ends up with Hulk powers, and she's got what he wants. She has total control of herself as She-Hulk. But he's lost and, goes back on the run and that sort of thing. And you leave it at that, only for him to reappear in Spider-Man once again as the threat people would perceive him as. But they didn't do it that way, so let's just pretend something like that happened, and perhaps the Spider-Man movie will still do well with this sort of sad adversary that he really doesn't want to be up against, but has to, that kind of thing. Plus, it's the Hulk. It's going to be going to be a real tough battle there for Spider-Man. Whoops. Meanwhile, as mentioned, John Bernthal will be the Punisher in Spider-Man. And of course it makes sense because despite the fact that Spider-Man is, super powered and out beyond, as far as power goes, the league, certainly of Punisher and Daredevil, but he does exist in the same world, has some of the same villains, and that street level crime he often deals with. And they do cross paths. In fact, Punisher was introduced originally in Spider-Man, as well as Kingpin. So, but a lot of ways became more of a Daredevil character. And of course, Punisher went on to be his own thing. But anyway, so big news via Nerdrotic that John Bernthal is joining Spider-Man Fall as who? The Punisher. Who else? Anyway, of course, he's already reprised the role in Daredevil Born Again. And just like Daredevil was completely wasted in that crap show, and it was sad to see. But they had some crappy version of it. They tried to polish that turd. They failed. So that's what happens when you do something like that. So Bernthal is also currently developing a spin-off special from the Daredevil Born Again series. And in no coincidence, Marvel Comics recently announced they are bringing back Frank Castle as the Punisher, after canceling the character a couple of years ago due to Marvel's woke politics. Yeah, that's what wokeness does. Destroy. So the news about John Bernthal appearing as the Punisher in Spider-Man Brand New Day comes from Gary Beekler on his Nerdrotic YouTube channel, during an interview with legendary comic creator Mark Millar, who was promoting his new creator-owned comic Psychic Sam, which is also being adapted into a movie. Millar goes on how he was going to do big projects for DC and Marvel, but instead opted to re-team with legendary artist John Romita Jr. on a new creator-owned project. Well, that's Marvel and DC's loss, but what are you going to do? Millar says that as of late, there has been a void in comics regarding certain types of characters. Ain't that the truth? It points to how Marvel Comics changed their Punisher. So he came up with the idea for a similar type of character, Psychic Sam, which he said in his email newsletter is Death Wish meets Minority Report. Oh, so he can see the crimes coming in the future, and he goes and just, I guess, blows the criminals away like Punisher. So while discussing the project and pop culture, Beekler says that the Hulk will be in Spider-Man Fall, which dropped on Monday. Beekler and Millar discuss how they don't want Mark Ruffalo's goofy, smart Hulk in the movie. Millar says he hopes it's similar to the John Buscema Hulk, running wild from the comics and not Ruffalo talking about the environment. Beekler adds that he hopes Ruffalo doesn't appear at all. And yeah, exactly. I agree with that. He appeared. They just used the CGI Savage Hulk the entire time. Yes, that would be better. Just do that, And the voice, AI, Beekler then drops the bomb that the Punisher will be in Spider-Man Fall. So the quote is, Punisher's going to be in that too. That hasn't been announced yet. Update. John Roca on the hot mic back in January also said Spider-Man and the Punisher would be battling the Hulk. Oh, wow. So this is actually old news. It said Marvel wants to get away from the Smart Hulk and move to the rampaging Savage Hulk. Now, I do remember hearing things like that. And I thought he might have an appearance in Brave New World, which it's kind of his movie. All his villains are in it. You know, and then he loses control and becomes the Hulk, and you can leave it like that, you know, but stupid MCU. They didn't do it. Anyway, at the time, Jeff Snyder also added, it seems as if Marvel is moving toward World War Hulk in the MCU, which has been rumored for some time. Yeah, but they hinted at that in She-Hulk with his son showing up and all that. It's best to just pretend that never happened. But World War Hulk, you know, he was shot into space by Iron Man. And that's how he ended up on that planet. And then he comes back for revenge, primarily against Iron Man and the other heroes he feels wronged him. So I don't know. Don't know. Anyway, regarding the Savage Hulk, it recently became known that from the Disney Blockbuster Consumer Products and Presentation that the Savage Hulk will be the main villain. Alongside Scorpion, Boomerang, Tombstone, Lady Queen. So there we go. So perhaps, well, not perhaps, it's looking all but likely, but it's a really cluttered film. There's a lot of villains in it. And then the Hulk becomes the main thing. Or is this like Red Hulk and Brand New Day? No. In Brave New World. Then that would be very disappointing. But then I guess it works as a setup for the Hulk's own film, perhaps. But they're running out of time because they're about to reboot everything. So I don't know. Are they just getting the Hulk all stupid and savage for the purposes of Doomsday and Secret Wars? So perhaps that's what they're doing. It is of some interest in the original Secret Wars. Of course, the Hulk had his intelligence. Basically, Banner was in control, but he was showing the signs there that he was starting to lose it, and going back to his old self, and eventually he did. So but they're going to be more akin to the Hickman version rather than the Jim Shooter version, but I'm assuming they'll combine the two somewhat. So he'll probably already be, Savage Hulk. And maybe he'll get his piece at the end before they reboot the whole thing. But what have you. Boy, they squandered a lot of time because the whole tragedy element of the Hulk, they only explored one movie and a little bit in some of the Avengers. They really needed to explore it further, and it should have worked, but they didn't. They didn't. But you'll get some of that apparently in Spider-Man.